Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. It's part 36 today and we are back for our first 5-year bookmark in this save. And as you can see from the top of the National League table here, this one's going pretty well. However, we're a long way behind where we were last year. We'll compare those, we'll look at the clubs we've managed so far and how they're getting on. A lot of talk in the comments about how Cefn Druids are doing. And of course, we'll have a look at the footballing landscape, see if anything big has changed over the past 5 years. So if you're looking forward to all of that and you have been enjoying the series, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. We've got our end of season review with Hemel Hempstead tomorrow, 4 years in that one. And in the next 2 episodes after that will either be a new club in this one or a transfer special in both. So hopefully that'll be enough to keep you excited. But if not, we've also got 3 episodes a week from Cricket 22. You can find that playlist up in the eye above. There's also a link there to the Twitch channel and a football podcast too. So much to come over the rest of December. I'm really looking forward to it. But for now, we've got to focus on this save and how our career's progressing. I do just want to get out the way very quickly. For those of you that are up to date with the story, we have had a few little hints at job interviews this summer, whether it be inappropriate ones we wouldn't take, or big step-ups. There have been a few that have been muted by the media and a few that have been talked about in terms of being a favourite or whatever else. So it does look possible that there will be a move this summer, although Dover already doing great work in the transfer window. We'll save that for next time though. Let's have a look in order at what's been happening in our career. So firstly, one of the things that really interested me here is that, yes, our attributes have risen. We would expect that over time. We're at clubs that don't have many coaches. We have to do a lot of the coaching. That was always going to improve. What I really don't understand, as we won National League Manager of the Year, that's a nice little side effect, we did get a massive boost to level of discipline. And I don't know what's caused it exactly. It still says our tactical style is gegenpress, which isn't exactly true, but our management of people and our level of discipline has risen so quickly above everything else. But it says we're being a strict disciplinarian. Is that maybe just because we put our fines up a bit at the start of the season? Because that's only to raise money at a non-league club, to be honest. But if that's a side effect of it, it's not too bad. We are also wanted and studying for our National A licence, so there's a lot of good going on at the moment. But I just thought that was quite interesting. It's such a big standout compared to our other attributes. Let's have a look at our history though. A very different story to last year. Last year we started in Scotland in the head coach. By the 5th year we'd won a trophy, we'd managed in Europe, and we'd gone from Scotland to England and we're in the Championship. So not the same meteoric rise that Scotland gave us, but 2 very enjoyable and successful jobs across 2 nations. And how different it could have been. Cast your eyes back to the middle of season 1. Forget about where we are now. We were 1 game from the sack with Cefn Druids in the 1st December or January. And that is something that we can't forget. It's very easy to get complacent. It's very easy to forget where you've been. But we were 1 game from the sack in the first season. Even cast your eyes back to last year, our first with Dover. We were expected to win promotion by winning the league. We were 1 game away from failing that because Wealdstone pushed all the way. And if that hadn't have happened, we might have been sacked. And look what happened since. So it's a very, very thin line between success and failure this year. Thankfully, we're on the line of success so far. Let's have a look at our stats though. Very good overall. A win rate of 63%, but bar the first year with Cefn Druids, we've been at teams competing in the top half, the top end. So there's no real surprise in that. Of course, bar the first half year, we have been quite fortunate with Director of Footballs. We've got to say that. But 3 years at one club and 2 years so far at another. And our only 4 days on holiday were before we got our first job offer. So we haven't been out of work much at all. And we haven't had a sack in yet. So it's going to be interesting to see if that changes later on. Let's have a look at our job history. With Cefn Druids, we struggled to 7th in the first season. After, let's be honest, being right in a relegation mix for 22 games. We then got 2nd and 2nd in back-to-back years. And lost a couple of cup finals to TNS. Let's have a look at how they're getting on now without us. So we left them in 2nd place. Looks like they're doing alright, to be fair. So, after the years with us, they finished 4th the first year after, and they finished 3rd this season. How did they get on Europe-wise? They're in. So after a year away, they've got back to Europe. They have got the most assists in the league from Dan Jones, a right winger. And I wonder if the standard of the league has gone up, because TNS were looking really good there. And although not winning the league much, Connah's Quay are hanging on to their coattails a little bit. So let's have a look at Cefn Druids manager first. David Doria is not bad. I've seen worse and saw worse through a lot of our Builder Nation at Bangor City last year. Former Haverfordwest manager, previously had been in the lower leagues. He's alright, I've got to be fair to him there. Let's have a look at the others. The key player, Steve Matthews, is okay, better than the centre-halves we had, but not setting a world alight on loan from Wrexham. There's also Jacob Lever and Dan Malone, who are still there 2 years later. The problem we find in this save quite a lot is that players just, even if they're out of contract, they stay and another club doesn't come in for them. So you can see there's a lot of the same players. Nick Roberts, Jesse Naylor, Nathan Nichols, Christian Marr, Ben Coley, who's now sub-keeper apparently. But that must be a rotation because the other one was much worse. There are a few new faces though, albeit mainly on loan. Let's see who their top earners are. Wow, all of them have come in after we left the club. All of the top 6. Regan Ogle, decent player, but not very quick at the back. Marcus Dackers, we would have taken a striker like that in our time. Harry Kiprianu, he is not bad. Zach Bell, okay centre midfielder. Shackelford, not too bad. And Connor Salisbury is alright. So they have improved the side. They're gradually getting a little bit better. But I wouldn't say it's the massive step up that they may have been expecting. Having said that, they're not a club that have dropped off massively after we've left. I'm just going to check. Did they have any other managers? They didn't. And have they won any trophies? They were runners-up in the League Cup under us. Nothing since. No, they have not won a trophy. So all that's happened is they've basically stagnated and stayed in the same place in the league. But they have got European football back next year. And look, I'm in their favoured personnel. That's amazing after 3 years managing them. Jacob Lever's up there as well, one of our old players. Interesting to see defenders making it more this year. I guess that's because of the average ratings, but still, that's a lovely touch. So we're a favoured person at our first club we managed. What about our current club Dover though? Of course, those of you who aren't up to date will get spoilers now. We have been brilliant at Dover. Back-to-back promotions, both secured on the final day. The first one against Wealdstone in the National League South. The second one against Notts County and Crawley in the National League. So let's have a look at Dover. We know the squad very well. We know all the players. We've been here a while. What we do want to point out though is that we're in the favoured personnel with both Lucas Ness and Matt Everett. 2 clubs, fan favourites at both. That is a very good sign. I do want to just remind you where they were before because we got them after they came down from the National League. No surprise with a points deduction. 2 mid-table finishes. We nicked them first on the final day. And then let's be fair, Kevin Wilkin gave us a ridiculous squad this season. Brandon Haynes, Will Andy Appan, the list goes on. Just superstars. And we win it on the final day. Crawley lost in the National League playoff final to Notts County. I guess it wouldn't have been harsh on any of them to go up, but it's a good argument for 3 teams going up from the National League, isn't it? Dover Athletic, fans' favourite. Might not be after this summer if we end up leaving them though. Let's go and have a look at how the footballing world is progressing without us here, because I think our career is going pretty nicely. Ironically, on the attributes and the coaching badge side, we've actually made more progress than we did last year. It's just that in FM21 we were able to have a meteoric rise through Scotland and then got offered a big job in the Championship because we were managing in Europe, I guess. That didn't happen with Cefn Druids, but we got out at the right time, and I think we were umming and ahhing about whether to take the first job offer or to be more patient. But I think we've sort of seen now that it was the right decision in hindsight. But let's move on to the footballing world, and we will start with the Premier League because, of course, England is one of the biggest nations here, and it's the one we're aiming to get to the top of ultimately as an Englishman. This is what it looks like at the moment. So this season, Liverpool have dropped down to 5th. West Ham and Spurs are still up there. No massive surprises in the relegation zone, I wouldn't say. You can see Haaland has made that move to Manchester City. He is utterly ridiculous in this game. But Manchester United have won 3 titles in a row. Now, they've got the likes of Musiala. You can see Bruno Fernandes still doing well there. They've got the likes of Drakowski between the sticks, good keeper. But maybe a surprise that they've been so dominant the last 3 years. Let's go back and look at the previous seasons, and we'll start with the very first one. Manchester City won it. They were followed by, weirdly, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, then Chelsea in 5th, Southampton in 6th, and Everton 1 point behind in 7th, but Tottenham and Leicester, the teams that got through in Europe, I guess one maybe won the Carabao Cup and one won the Europa Conference. But that's pretty surprising. Palace went down, always seems to happen in this game. They get a little bit underrated, don't they? The second season, Luton came up, I remember that, and then went straight back down again. Newcastle up to 7th with the Mega Bucks. The top 6, probably not far off what you'd expect. Manchester United 5th though that season. Then they came back and won it. Leicester got up to 5th place above Liverpool that year. It's a very weird table, the way there's such big fluctuations. No massive shocks at the bottom again, Palace being the ultimate yo-yo club now. 4th season, we've got West Ham back up in 6th, Leicester in 7th. Tottenham the ones dropping out there. Again, no massive shocks at the bottom. And in this season, Crystal Palace didn't come back up, but similar top 7 and the bottom 3, no surprise. So maybe Newcastle, the slight shocks. They had one good year, but they've fallen away again now. They are, I presume, still rich, but I want to see where their transfer spending has gone in recent years. So actually made a net profit this season. The year before, okay, an extra 100 million spent on Gilmore and Bowen. The season before that, spent 250 million. So actually they're a massive underachievement because they've got the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Onana, Bernat, Dalot. They're signing very good football players and not getting much closer. But looking at some of the ones they have bought, 40 million for Kyle Walker-Peters, could you accuse them of maybe wasting a little bit of that money or overpaying in the market? Let's move on to the hardest league in the world, the Championship. Blackburn have come up this season. Let's see how Luton Town are doing. Still up in 8th place, so one Premier League season and now a good Championship club. Palace have come back up this year. Birmingham gone down. Of course, we're managing in the Championship in our Twitch save with Derby. We've seen some real surprise relegations. Blackburn are always up there. And this season they've managed to do it. But let's go back to season 1. Luton bizarrely up in the playoffs with Fulham and Sheffield United. Birmingham down again. They're really poorly rated in this save. Derby had the points deduction, so no shock with them. Second season, Palace and Norwich straight back up. Bournemouth at the second attempt. Coventry, Pompey and Charlton. So Coventry a bit of surprise, but 2 of the big hitters that came up went straight back down. Season 3, Hull, Ipswich and Blackpool down. Stoke, Sheffield United, Watford up. No real shocks there, I wouldn't say. Season 4, Bournemouth, Fulham and Middlesbrough up. MK Dons, Coventry and Oxford down. Certainly no big shocks there. And in this season, Hull, Millwall, Birmingham down. Palace, Norwich and Blackburn up. Might as well be the first couple of seasons again, that. Let's move on to League 1. What's been going on down there? Forest Green have won the playoff final this year. They'll be coming up to the Championship for the first time. Plymouth, Accrington, Northampton and Bristol Rovers down. Now, interestingly, in this league, the Plymouth and Northampton jobs are both up for grabs. Northampton very local to meet Plymouth. Must have a good side because they were only 1 point off surviving. Only 4 points off 13th, bizarrely. The other job that's up is Sheffield Wednesday. They gave it to the interim to the end of the year, so I have applied for that one. We'll see what happens. Let's have a quick glance at the previous years, just in case there's any big shocks. An expected 3 going up the first year. Derby bouncing back, as did Birmingham the second. Third year, no massive shocks. Fourth, certainly not. They're big hitters. And this season we've seen already. So no real surprises in the Football League so far. Been a lot more steady than we've seen in previous years. Wrexham in League 2 lost the playoff final this season. 4 League 2 clubs coming up. Sutton seem to be doing quite well. Bromley and Barrow go down. From the first year, Crawley and Port Vale down was maybe a bit of a surprise. Second season, Harrogate and Scunthorpe. I guess Harrogate have been a little underrated in this FM. Plymouth bouncing back. They've been a bit of a yo-yo club again. Third season, Doncaster straight back up as champions. Oldham and Salford going back down. Season 4, Stevenage and Notts County went down. We know that because we played them both this year. Whereas Walsall, Leyton Orient and Bradford go up before this season, which we've just seen. So the Football League, I would say, is quite steady. There's no massive surprises. The National League had a few League 2 clubs in. We've seen a few shocks come down, but not really gone any further than that. So it's not been that they've gone down and then gone down another division. They've just sort of settled in this National League table. I'm talking about the likes of Crawley, Salford, Stevenage, of course, Harrogate as well. But there's no one that you would be absolutely shocked to see in the National League. Oldham, of course, looks like it might happen in real life. They're Premier League club in the past, so I guess a slight surprise, but they're financially in trouble off the pitch and have not got a great squad on it. So can't be that shocked, can you? Let's just see who's gone down from the National League before. No surprises really in the first season. Second year, Halifax may be a slight surprise based on recent National League seasons. Season 3, no shocks at all. Season 4, no shocks at all. And this season, I guess Yeovil is the big one. They're going down to the National League South. Let's move on to the North and South. York finally coming up. They've been waiting a long time, unless they've been yo-yoing earlier in the save. No shocks at the bottom. Are there any other big ones? Just seeing if there were any clubs that were a surprise, but not really. It's all very steady and expected at the moment. So it doesn't look like York have come up in this save. It's their first year up. Let's have a look at the South. We'll keep an eye on Hemel Hempstead, of course, who are managing in the one club save. They are banging mid-table, 11th place. Just shows how unrealistic those expectations were at the start. Wealdstone do win the league. That's lovely to see. 100 points again for them after missing out so narrowly to us last season. St Albans struggling not far above the relegation zone, but let's have a look at the first 3 years. So St Albans got relegated first season. That explains a lot. Ebbsfleet and Oxford City came up. Second season, no shocks really. Weymouth bouncing back. Maidstone joined them. Aldershot bounced back the third season. Dulwich Hamlet with them. And then, of course, we came into the league at that point. So, not many shocks in English football, I'd say. Certainly no big swings by 2 or 3 divisions. Probably Luton going into the Premier League was one of the most surprising things, but it didn't last long and they were comfortably bottom. Let's move on to the cup competitions, then we'll take a quick look at Scotland and Wales as well. So, Manchester City won the FA Cup final this year. Who has won it overall? It has been Leicester, Chelsea, City, Chelsea, City. So nice to see Leicester back up their 2021 success. They got back-to-back FA Cup wins, but since then been back to the usual bunch. The League Cup was won by Liverpool against Leicester, who seem to be a great cup team. City, Chelsea, City, Chelsea. No shocks there. The Community Shield, 3 for City, 1 for Leicester, 1 for United. EFL Trophy, Sheffield Wednesday, Wycombe, Pompey, City 23s and Ipswich. 4-0 against Port Vale in the final this year. And the FA Trophy, Solihull, Grimsby, Harrogate, Stockport, Chesterfield. Certainly no big shocks in there. Before we go on to Scotland, let's have a quick look at the European trophies because they're always ones of interest and hopefully, well, will be in the long term. Manchester City have won 3 out of 5. Jeez, Liverpool the first one, Bayern Munich one in the middle. And don't forget, this is the head coach. We've got nearly every league loaded in Europe. This is not, oh, the English teams are dominant because that league's loaded. We have got nearly all of them there. So Manchester City dominant in the Champions League. Europa League, getting a very English feel again. PSG and Milan the first 2 years. So PSG must have gone out of their Champions League group. But then Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal the 3 years since. Arsenal battering Hertha Berlin in the final. The Europa Conference, Leicester lost to Sparta Prague. Only Tottenham in the first season an English winner. Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Lille and Sparta Prague. Nice to see that being shared out across a few nations, and one of our regulars will be very happy to see Copenhagen there and Jonas Wynn there, who is a very good striker at this level. But let's go and have a look at Scotland, because we spent so much of last year there that I think it's only fair we go and have a look at how they're doing. So, Scottish Premiership. It is St Johnstone just surviving. Rangers have won 4 in a row after Celtic wrapped it up the first year, and there's a bit of an 8-point gulf there as well. So I'm guessing Rangers probably added a few players. I can see Glenn Kamara and Hadji are still key players. Igor Divev is in the team. It's a good centre-half. Who else is there? Andreas Lindy in goal. Good keeper. Very good, actually. So Rangers, definitely an improving side. I wouldn't say the Scottish League has improved as much as it usually does, though. And Hearts' Mark Harris was bizarrely the top scorer. You wouldn't have expected that at the start, would you? Let's have a quick look at the Championship. We'll keep an eye out for some of the clubs we've managed before. So, Hamilton won it, Falkirk and Queen of the South Down. Arbroath, a disastrous mobile save, but still doing well here in the full game. Raith Rovers not having the same success they did in our Bangor City save last year. Dundee only just surviving in the Championship. Down to League One, have we got any big stories down here? We've got East Fife going up to the Championship with Queen's Park. I wouldn't say there's any massive shocks other than that. And then into League Two, where are Brechin? Are they back? They're not back. Edinburgh City relegated, perhaps a surprise. 4th are back up. But unfortunately, no sign of Brechin City, who we managed last year. Let's have a quick look at Wales and Northern Ireland to complete the UK set. Of course, Wales we managed in the first 3 years. We know TNS are dominant. But Connors Key, definitely on their coattails. Cefn Druids still up in third. So a little bit consistent there. Newtown went down with 11 points this season. That's got to be a record low, certainly in this save anyway. Let's go over to the Irish Premiership though. Larne did get their title. Linfield have won the other 4. No big shocks there. Carrick Rangers down. Just seeing if there's any surprise teams in this league. There aren't. But still very much the big 3 and Glenavon who have worked their way back in there. I'm not too surprised by that. I am surprised that the league's fallen behind the Welsh Premiership again because it was on the way back up. These sides, they've got to start delivering in Europe. So there's a look at the UK league system. Of course, a look at our career so far as well. It's not been quite as expansive as the last time. We've not got 4 or 5 clubs to look back at, and we've not got a plethora of league changes either. But we have got a big summer ahead of us. Of course, you know, we won the National League on the final day with Dover, but as much as the great transfer work is being done already, there is a sniff of interest in us. You saw we were wanted. There's 3 or 4 clubs in there, and a couple of them, probably jobs I'd take if we were offered them on the right terms. So that will be the decision in the next episode. We'll either be back for the start of season 6 with Dover Athletic, a transfer special courtesy of Kevin Wilkin, or with a job offer, a new team, and a new squad to go and introduce. Which will it be? Let me know in the comments what you think. What level I should be aiming to get a job in. Do you think League 2? Do you think League 1? Or is it just about waiting for the right club to come along? Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. Let us know what your story's been of the first 5 years. Have I missed anything in terms of the league structure that potentially stood out to you but not me? If you want to stay up to date for how the next 5 goes, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We've got daily FM22 videos from 2 long-term stories, season review with Hemel Hempstead Town tomorrow, then a transfer special a couple of days later. But a lot of work to be done in both saves and a very dramatic start to the week to come. While you're waiting for that, you can find the Hemel Hempstead playlist, the Cricket 22 series, and of course the Twitch channel up in the eye above. The football podcast is there too, with plenty of festive fun to come. But a big thank you for watching, your continued support as always, it is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next time for the start of season 6, but will it be at Dover Athletic? I'll see you there to find out.